Thank you for clicking Dr. Samurai Minute Lecture. In this video, I would like to discuss serial killer live. I would like to especially focus on the actual words by a Japanese serial killer who killed 9 girls and their decapitated heads in his room. My name is Dr. Samurai. I'm a professor specialized in international social pathology. Serial killer live. This is not a video on Snoop Dogg's CD, but on very details of murder scene by a serial killer, as it were a real live of the serial killer's actual murder scene. I am basing this video on an article by Mr. Ikko Ono titled Zama 9 Murder Case. Once I put a noose on her neck, she started leaking her urine, trembling. Real words on a horrifying modus operandi. This serial killer's name is Takahiro Shiraishi, who lured 8 girls and a boyfriend of one of those 9 girls who were thinking about committing murder at an online murder site, saying he would be more than happy to help them in committing suicide. And later on, after dismembering the bodies, he kept 9 decapitated heads in ice boxes in his room. I would like to go over actual words told by this serial killer Shiraishi, then interpret them in the light of serial murder research, and lastly like to further discuss what these words actually indicate. The introduction of real words. When he was given by this writer, Mr. Ono, a photo magazine of today's young girl celebrities. Oh, she is very cute after all. I would appreciate another magazine, please. And the writer asks, are there many people who are visiting you lately? Let's see. On Monday, one unknown girl came to see me, but I declined. And there was another male reporter, but today was already set for you, so I declined it too. Oh, I see, and knowing you have been collecting interview fees from reporters, have you earned enough money? Let's see, I think I have earned enough money for my detained life so far. And he suddenly asks, hey, Mr. Ono, do you know anybody who have not appealed to the court? Because I really think appeal doesn't make any sense, seeing that other famous mass murderer who did his act at the same time as I did. And writer goes, no, I can't think of anybody. What usually happens is their attorneys go for the appeal without permission of the defendant, and later that defendant withdraw the appeal most of the time. I was kind of thinking, it looks there's not gonna be any more big interviews from which I can earn a lot of money. If so, I thought it would be better to go for execution as early as possible. You know, there are many interviews intended to deceive me, so I'm now sick and tired of those interviews. And the writer goes, yeah, I see, but once you get the final murder conviction, you cannot see anybody other than your lawyer. And he goes, yeah, that's true. And when did you think of committing murder for the first time? Oh, it was when I saw her money was wired into my account, but I somehow noticed she had a boyfriend, although I wasn't sure about it. And how did you come to actually do it? He goes, you know, I web searched about how to murder, how to dismember bodies, how to get rid of it, and how to erase evidences. This may sound a little cruel, but I already had a saw purchased before I called my first victim over. I was already determined to do that in advance. Didn't you hesitate about doing it because you are afraid of the incident discovered? To be honest with you, I conducted web research so many times, and I came up with a good way to murder. I decided not to kill high school students because those who already graduated from high school, the police will not investigate so seriously, thinking that there's a possibility that she is staying with her boyfriend, or there are cases that she's actually working at sexual services. And your book said another serial killer intentionally made victims cut their ties with their families and people at their job sites, isolating the victim. So I followed your advice, and I also told the first victim to go home and leave a letter at home saying, please do not look for me. Web search also told me if a victim does that, the police wouldn't move. And writer goes, did all of your 9 victims actually follow your advice? The first one did, but after second victim on, they actually didn't. But I really wanted to rape her, so I did and just killed. So the one I made a perfect preparation for was only the first victim. And how actually did it happen? And I killed her on the very first day she visited my room. We drank together, and she said something like, this is a good room, and then I stood up and went to the entrance and locked and keyed, and went to the kitchen too, and then I finally attacked her. I wanted to do things like that for a long time, and looking into how to kill, the web search told me it will be very difficult. My victim usually lost her consciousness, so I had to do everything. So I usually tied their hands and legs up, and I put her neck onto a noose I prepared in advance. When her neck was in the noose, her body drops loose. What I'm talking about? And being unconscious, she leaked her urine and trembled and then convulsed. I checked her body 30 minutes after, and she was already gone and her body was cold. How did you feel? To be honest with you, my heart was pumping, although I was not doing any exercise. Did you have a sexual urge to dead bodies? No, I was into raping girls alive, whether unconscious or not, but I was not into dead bodies. However, after I murdered multiple victims in the latter half, I started to have the urge to have sex with the dead bodies, and I even took pictures of it. And how are you feeling about it? If there was only one victim I murdered, maybe I could possibly be Buddhist monk and repent on what I did for the rest of my life. But, I killed 9. That's an impossible number. And now I feel like I don't care. None of my family comes over to say, please don't die. And as I have told you, there are many tricky interviews to try to deceive me. And also, lawyers do only lip services, which doesn't mean anything, so I don't have any interest in living in this world anymore. So, what do you think was the main reason of your murders? I now think it was seriously about money and the sexual desire. And then an interview ended. Oh, if you like this kind of serious topics, please click that green and yellow Good Luck Chum logo. And now I would like to move into my final discussion of this serial killer live video. How should we understand his double desires of obsessing with money and obsession with murders? Initially for money and initially for sexual urges. And now he is not interested in living anymore. This means very base of his personality is formed by neglect, which leads to self-destruction in the end. I mean, he was neglected by his mother, who doesn't show her emotions to other people. She was well known for not greeting neighbors, even they would say hi to her. The same thing was happening at home. So, during his critical period, which means 0 to 3 years of his life, he was ignored, and that is the reason why now he came to the stage of wanting to die and ending his life, because he was emotionally neglected by his mother. Then why he also shows characteristics of serial killer, which is considered to be totally opposite to that of mass murder. Mass murderers were produced by neglect, while serial killers are produced by abuse. He was obviously not abused at home, but his father was busy working and always out of the scene. But her mother, 3 years after Shiraishi was born, had his sister, and she was always close to his sister, because I guess they were same female sex. She must have felt more comfortable with the girl than boy. So it means he was an only boy for the first 3 years. Although he was emotionally neglected, he was the only child in his house. But 3 years after, all the attention went to his sister. So, initial 3 years, the love given to him would say this level. But 3 years after, it suddenly dropped at this level because his sister took all the love from parents away from him. This kind of drastic change of love plays equivalent role to abuse because it causes sudden drop of love. This substantial difference of love level has the same impact as abuse. So his interest into murdering girls, raping girls, come from this drastic drop of love toward him, mainly by his mother. But he is saying he was initially into money, but later on he shifted to be interested in raping and then finally to necrophilia. How can we explain these changes? His obsession with money comes from neglect. Those who are neglected, they try to fill in the blank caused by the lack of mother's love with alternative to love, that is money. In the place of mother's love, he was hooked on money due to the neglect. But because of that sudden drop of love toward him, which is equivalent of abuse, he also developed strong desire to rape girls. But why he came down to having sex with dead bodies? It also comes from his initial neglected background. Neglect means he was always alone with no exchanges with other human beings. So, in his basic personality, he is not conditioned to be happy with live people. He was rather surrounded by things. So, he feels more comfortable with inorganic, not living objects, which is dead bodies. You see? So, it's like this. Because the basis of his personality is neglect, he is not interested in living. He is more into committing suicide originally due to his early neglect. But because of that drastic change in the level of love, as secondary characteristics, he developed a serial rapist type of mind. Initially obsessed with money in the place of love due to his neglect, but once he killed his victim, he felt unexperienced excitement, heart pumping, at the moment of a person dying. So, out of his obsession with money into the excitement of killing live girls. And then, due to his original neglect, he finally came down to having sex with dead bodies, which he felt more comfortable, also from his early neglected background. And now, because of that, he is not interested in living anymore. And as you can see, the neglect really happened because no family members visit him at jail. This is a good sign of neglect. And if I would like to add one more thing, this kind of spree murder happens to those who have been suppressing such evil desires for a long time. And when some incident happens as stressor which cut him off the society. In his case, it was the arrest by police for his illegal business of selling girls to sex businesses. It totally cut him off the society. And once that kind of incident happens that suppress down desires for long years, snaps out to be uncontrolled anymore, even not thinking about what is going to happen by their acts. So this is the mechanics of spree murder. And also, this case can be said a hybrid case of mass murder and serial murder, because abusive background is found in addition to the neglected basis of his personality. This is all for today. I would love to hear what you have to say about my analysis of this Zama 9 murder case by Takahiro Shiraishi. And if you are interested in this kind of deep discussions, please click that red Dr. Same logo. Wherever you are, my friend, on this beautiful planet Earth during this very short period of time we share today. Okay, thank you very much and bye-bye.